Hello, hello. Life has been such a whirlwind over the past few weeks. I am so excited to have you join the show today, Coffee and Collaborations. And let me tell you, we did the live podcast for the first time, August the 5th. We went over to a local community center here in the Triangle area, North Carolina, Raleigh, Durham, and it was over in Garner. A couple weeks later, we went to Authors in Art Studio, also another live podcast where we visited the owner, Tara Henry. Authors in Art Studio offers the paint parties. It's a venue space that you can rent out, networking, all of that. Same thing for the community center in Garner, which is called Perfectly Flawed Community Center. And I wanted to recap that because it was a plateau for Coffee and Collaborations media. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, if you go to the website, if you go to YouTube, if you go to Instagram, if you go to our pages on social media, you'll see Coffee and Collaborations Media. And it is because I have a bigger vision for Coffee and Collaborations, which goes back to my foundation. I got my degree in English from Elizabeth City State University. And my focus was news media communications, public relations, and journalism. And I used to write stories for the newspaper. I used to go around also and do interviews and take pictures of different happenings around campus. I did a little of this in high school as well, but I truly enjoyed that. And I got away from it. You guys ever experienced that in life? Something that you absolutely love and life just happens and you kind of get away from it. You almost forget that you even loved it. You almost forget that it is a major part of who you are. That ever happened to anyone else? Well, I'm gonna tell you, that's what happened to me. And I absolutely loved every moment of that experience. And so it has been a highlight of my life, really and truly, to get back to news media, to be able to use something that I love and that I was naturally doing, which is promote others and give people a platform, give people an audience, give people a voice, give people confidence in themselves and the authenticity of their story, help them to not only realize it, but share it. And so that's what I want to share today. That's what this show is going to be about. It's going to be about what is that thing that you may be leaving on the table that is truly what you're supposed to be doing. What is that thing that if you go back to a moment in your life provided you the most joy, and every time you have the opportunity to do an inkling of it, you feel like it's not work. You feel like it's just fun. It's almost like going to dinner with a friend, going to the movie with a friend. It's an experience and you love it. And you want to share it with others. When people ask you to help them with this thing, you say yes effortlessly. Even though you know you have other responsibilities, you say yes effortlessly. It's who you are. Have you experienced that missing piece in your life where you've lost some semblance of who you are? Well, I'll tell you, one of the first things that you have to do as a business owner in this thing called networking, collaboration that I so often talk about on this show, which is what the show is all about. You have to ultimately collaborate with God. You guys have heard me talk about that before. And you have to have a networking experience with you. What do I mean by that? Spend some time with you. Figure out who you are. Sit down and write out I'm going to use my name. Who is Kimberly? What do I love? What makes me happy? What is that one thing that I do that when I do it, there's no effort? I absolutely adore every single moment of it. And write that out. Write out the factors that are involved in that process of that thing that you do. Write out the pros, write out the cons. So networking, let me explain and describe that really quickly so you can understand where I'm going. My favorite definition of networking is actually a technological version of it. So it's interconnected cables. And as a result of those cables being interconnected, they provide a resource, right? So how is it that you can be a resource to others connecting appropriately if you are not interconnected with who you are? It's impossible. It's impossible. We have to network with ourselves. Who are you? Write out your story. That's another step to this process, to figuring out, how do I network with myself in order to become an amazing person in my business, in order to become who I am supposed to be in this world, in order to serve in the capacity that you're supposed to serve, to be able to be an asset, the asset that you need to be to your business. You got to network with yourself. So like I said a moment ago, ultimately collaborating with God. Create a networking opportunity where you sit down weekly. If you need to do it daily. I love to do it daily, especially when I'm in a transition period. And each of you will know what that is in your life. You'll feel it. You'll feel that it's time to make a change. And when that happens, you know, the first person, now we already said you got to ultimately collaborate with God, but the first person that you have to get with, that you got to network with, get interconnected, get clear with yourself. So this is what I want you to think about, and I want you to write down. Who am I? Definitively, at some point in your life, as a child, as a middle schooler, as an 8-year-old, as a college freshman, at some point in your life, you had confidence unbeknownst to yourself, even as to who you were. You felt like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing in a moment in your life. You felt it, even if you weren't in a major, say you're in college, even if your major didn't reflect that. Say you're in the 8th grade and you're taking piano and happen to have an opportunity to sing at church, but you felt like, okay, I really would prefer to sing because this brings me joy, and not really be taking all these piano lessons. I really would prefer to take singing lessons. Or maybe you were working a job and you felt like, this job is perfect for me. I knew when I was a young person that I was going to be doing this. Maybe it's an attorney. I knew this, but you happen to have an opportunity to volunteer somewhere. And maybe it's giving blood. Maybe it's a blood drive or something where you're giving back. Maybe it's you're helping to feed the homeless. And in that moment, you thought, wow, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel so great doing this. You felt absolute joy. Time stood still for you because you were so complete and happy in what you were doing. So this is what happens. We have those moments. Then we have that other thing that says, well, I've already put time into this. I can't leave this other thing because I've put years into it. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on an education to do this. I don't want to feel like I wasted time. I can't waste any more time. This may not make me the money that I saw myself making. I don't know that I can do this. That's that secondary thought. So you have this joy that's sitting over here, this purpose, even this calling that's sitting over here, just waiting for you, just waiting for you to say, hey, I'm here, or waiting for you to come over and greet it and say hello, because it's saying, hey, I'm here. I'm waiting for you because in this thing is what you're supposed to be doing. In this thing is your joy, your purpose, your calling, your everything. And God is saying, I have everything you need over here. But you are concerned and bottled up in fear, so much so that you can't see it. And with networking with yourself, having that ultimate collaboration with God, you will get to a place where all of that goes away, and you'll realize that there is no lack at all, and that there is something on the other side of that process that you need to take to sit down, network with yourself, have that ultimate collaboration to get to the place where you're ultimately supposed to be. And it's not everybody, but those of you who are feeling stuck somewhere, those of you entrepreneurs who are feeling like, something isn't fitting, those of you people who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs or aspiring in another area, maybe this is not even entrepreneurship. Maybe this is just in your career. Maybe this is just in your friendships. Maybe this is just in your life as a parent. Whatever it is, we are so busy that we don't take the time. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going to pause for a second. I am not above this. I always like to say this. I have experienced this for myself. I've had to take moments to sit down as I'm talking with you guys about networking and collaboration, as I'm speaking with you about all these different tips and things that I've learned along the way. It's as a result of those experiences. These are transcendent moments in my life that have brought me to a place where now I can share the little bit that I know with others. So I wanted to say that. So as a result of you networking first with yourself, you will find the answers to so many things leading to freedom. Now, what does freedom look like for you? It's different for everyone. What does it look like for you? And if you don't know that, what am I going to say? Network with yourself. Get interconnected to where the cable cannot be broken. There's no gaps in where you are, where you're going to go, and then that being aligned with ultimately what you're supposed to do in this life. And hopefully from this process, you'll show up better in your business. You'll show up better in your life. You'll show up better on your job. You'll show up better for yourself. I challenge you. Network with yourself. I talked maybe a month or so ago about holding your happiness hostage. This is a part of that process. There's so many regrets that we hold on to in life in so many different areas that we continue to spiral and spiral and spiral over and over and over again, holding on to things that do nothing but destroy us. They do nothing but pull on us. They don't provide us any good. And we hold on to those things. What if we released the shackles of our happiness? Break away from the bondage because it wants to be free. You know you want to be free. You don't want to be worried and dreading all the time. You don't want to be stuck in the mud, confused as to who you are, what you're going to do. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be living with regret, focused on the things that you shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't do. Because why? You can start right now to change the trajectory of your path and your existence, to do the thing that you are meant to do. Don't worry about all of the money. Get a plan in place. Now, I'm gonna always advise journaling, business plan, write out the process, goals, get with a mentor. But first, if we could just backtrack for a minute, get right with that ultimate collaboration, network with yourself, and soar. Y'all, I'm trying to tell you, I just launched a component of my business. I realized that I needed to separate a business that I had all in one because it was too muddled. And I was trying to figure out how to do that. Once I got everything, all my ducks in a row, I knew it was going to happen, first of all, because I declared it. I said, this is what it's going to be. I knew that it was where I needed to be. And that company is now from Design Evolution Creations, which I was doing my signature events. I'm helping people to really figure out their signature event so that they can build community, grow community, attract their tribe, as I like to call it. So Design Evolution originally started as a catering and event planning company, and that was event planning for weddings and, all of those things like that. And I cut that off and was still trying to figure out, what is this thing going to be? And started really working in my career, in my degree rather, in public relations and promotions, and really helping a lot of entrepreneurs in that space. As you know, with Kimberly Winborn LLC, we help entrepreneurs make money and then be stewards of it. And how we help them make money is through community awareness, exposure, networking, things like this show, giving them a platform, etc. And so I decided that I was going to put a team together, which I did interviews, conversations, etc. for a few months. Put a plan in place. I sat on this for a little while I was making moves. Prayed about it. Asked God, what do you want me to do with this? And when I got my answers, I leapt. I did what I needed to do, launched Intentional Connections, which is a company that focuses on public relations, promotions, really helping you to highlight your business as an entrepreneur, your organization, get strategy behind your digital marketing. I have social media strategists, etc. And so that's what it's all about. How can we help you to relate to your target market, to the public, in order to get your message across? How can we help you to attract your tribe, that target market that you're so after? How can we help you to do that? And then also there's events and social media strategy and, all of that included with that process. And I love it. I love it. I'm able to take that hat that I wore years ago, the writer in me. We do content creation. I'm able to do that for companies now, for business owners, for solopreneurs. And I love it. But I was able to take that thing that I loved as a little girl, that I grew to love as a young adult, that I fell in love with even more when I went to college, and was able to use to help grow my business and market it somewhat through the years. And now share that with others. So guys, what did I do? The same thing I'm telling you. Network with yourself. Have that ultimate collaboration with God. Network with yourself. Make sure that you are aligned with people that are going to help you to get to the next level. People who are further along than you in specific areas that you can grow and learn from. But it takes taking a moment, really getting with yourself, being the light for your future, being your own guide, guided by God, not looking to everybody else for recognition and taps on the shoulder and all of that, but knowing that what is purpose for you, what you're supposed to do for others is already in you. You got everything that you need inside of you from a visionary perspective. You may need some help pulling some things out, but there's an amazingness inside of you, a light that shines bright. Don't dim it, not one other day. Network with yourself. Thank you for joining us today on Coffee and Collaborations. Go to www.coffeeandcollaborations.com and you can go straight to the podcast if you do coffeeandcollaborations.com/podcast. But you can check out everything about Coffee and Collaborations. I'm so excited. We've gotten to 1,000 likes on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook, share our page, contact us at info@coffeeandcollaborations.com if you're interested in advertising or being on the show. And I want to thank you all for being amazing supporters. I've run into a few people that have told me that they get so many tips from the show and they love the show. And I really, really, really appreciate you all for listening as well as your support. Share with a friend. If there's something that you've heard on this show, share it with a friend, share it with an entrepreneur, share it with someone who you think it will make a difference for. And feel free to reach out to me, ask me anything. If you have something that you want me to cover, want us to cover on the show, please reach out. info@coffeeandcollaborations.com. We have some amazing events coming up that I'll be telling you about, giving you an opportunity to plug in. Come on down to Raleigh, North Carolina and join us at some events because we have some powerful networking happening here and people's businesses are absolutely growing. My networking group, Visionary Networking Circle, we're working on a directory. No matter where you are, if you like to be considered as one of our professionals, you can fill out our form at bit.ly/V, capital N, capital C, capital P, lowercase ROF. That's bit.ly/VNC Prof. I cannot wait to see you all somewhere, hopefully very soon. Have a great rest of the week. And remember, there's someone waiting for you to shine so that it gives them permission to do the same. Thank you for listening to Coffee and Collaborations. That was a quote by Marianne Williamson, and I hope that it blesses your life as it's blessed and changed mine.
You've been listening to Coffee and Collaboration, the #1 networking skill building show for people who want to take their skills to the next level. Please join us each Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern and 6 a.m. Central.